So you want to just explain what you kind of explained to me? What do you like to do with your haircut?
Yeah, skin fade, fairly high fade, 4 on top, pretty simple.
Yep.
I don't like calling it the military cut. I like the guys to,
Yeah.
okay, coach has still got some style.
Yep.
And then obviously if you can, just the beard, trim the beard and line the beard up.
Okay. Are you thinking about trimming down the beard at all, or
No, you can go with a 2.
with a 2 on it and then just line it up?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Do you like to keep it kind of higher? It looks like you like to kind of like do it more
Yep. Just
like
the
square
shape,
right there.
the shape is kind of in, but I don't mind you being a little bit creative.
Okay, sounds good. Let's get straight into the cut then. The first question I have for you is, what made you fall in love with football?
Well, that's a good question. Obviously, it always starts with, for most coaches, it always starts, as a player. And that probably goes back to coming up in 7th and 8th grade, but high school sports in general, right? There are a lot of coaches that didn't play college football. For me, I was fortunate. I got to play college football and be impacted from a coaching standpoint by a couple really good men. Mike Bartholomew, Jeff Gabrielson, and Rob Barnhill were great mentors, to name a few. And so I thought the impact that they made on us, daily and their motivation and drive, really just solidified my passion for football. And then there's always a time that comes when you realize, okay, you're not good enough to move on and continue to play. And so from a young age, I always wanted to be in coaching and teaching. My major was physical education. Always wanted to coach, believe it or not, basketball. I thought it was so cool, the coaches on the sidelines with the suits, looking sharp. But the longer I was in football, I knew it was my passion and what I wanted to do.
When you were in college, you played quarterback. How did that shape you into the coach you are today?
Well, as a quarterback, those guys some are really good quarterbacks, some are really good natural leaders, right?
Yep.
It's kind of one of those positions where at first it's entitlement or leadership by title, but the good quarterbacks understand that you have to set an example. You have to be there for your teammates. They got to know you care about them if you want them to play hard for you. And so I don't know. I just had real good connections with the guys on the team. And as a sophomore, starting to see my role in the football team as the starting quarterback. I believe I was a captain my sophomore year. It's just kind of the natural relationship piece, but playing quarterback gives you definitely the opportunity to be one of the team leaders. That's for sure. And I've always enjoyed that part, and being connected with 80 to 100 guys back where I played at Concordia, Wisconsin was quite the honor.
So one thing I've always noticed about when I'm talking to you is you've always got that energy. It doesn't matter what time of the day it is, and I've cut up a lot of guys on the team and they just say you always have that intensity. Like, how do you bring that intensity with you every single day without, even everyone has hard days waking up and you can feel groggy, you can feel crappy some days, but even just the few conversations I've had with you, you're always ready to go, you're always amped up. How do you always bring that energy every single day?
Well, it's urgency and passion are two things that I value as standards in our program. And I think in terms of our core values are compete and prove tough, right?
Okay.
Those are the 3 things that we're going to do every time we practice, lift weights, study film as coaches, whatever it is we're doing, right? Recruiting. And then if you go into our standards, right, there's a couple things that are really critical to me. And that number 1 is, urgency. Have a great deal of urgency for your opportunity. I just think that's one of the separating factors from guys that really get it done, much like yourself, right? You're eager, you want to be the best barber you can be.
Yeah.
Well, if you don't have a great sense of urgency, it's easy to not show up on one day. If you're not trying to be the best, right? Our second standard is to maintain big body language, add something to the environment. I take a great deal of pride in those 2 things. Having great urgency, setting the vision, setting the demeanor, getting a feel for the climate in the room, And I've always really respected people no matter how they are. One thing I enjoy about people, or most of my friends or people I respect at a high level, is their consistency. And so that's probably why you feel that I'm fairly day to day pretty much the same guy. Mm-hmm. And we talk about that in recruiting too. Like, you know, we want our people to be able to dance to the music the way they want to dance to it. You know, and that's important. But they also got to know they can count on getting the same guy day in and day out, whether you're a teammate, a coach, an equipment manager, an athletic trainer. I don't get along with moody people. People that are up and down are hard to coach, hard to train, right? Hard to build a relationship with.
Your first season as a head coach, obviously you guys won the national championship. What was the main turning point, or what really got you guys there, and how did that feel as a coach to be able to do that your first season as a head coach at NDSU?
It's interesting. Get a lot of questions from the media about that, or from people. I know being the head coach is a big deal. I just have always looked at it like it's just one more step up from a coordinator spot. It's an opportunity to lead, to be part of a group, to set the vision. You know, and so for some of the changes that we made to the schedule, some of the approach changes that we made with our leadership council, I just really love the fact that the players gave me a chance to kind of put my own spin on things, embrace it and run with it. And that was phenomenal. And to see some of those things work, you know, for North Dakota State again in a different way, that's really rewarding. And it does say a lot about the program in general, because we didn't make humongous changes. We made small changes that impact the players' lives the most. You know, getting them a little bit more sleep here or there, or being conscientious of, you know, their time as far as practice goes, or walkthroughs. And so it's most certainly rewarding, but I don't want to pass the buck, but I'm just extremely happy for the seniors and then the coaching staff, especially the guys that never won one before. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely does make sense. So what was probably the proudest moment within that team that you had last year with that 2024 team? What made you like the happiest and most proud to be around them?
Yeah. Well, the word proud is interesting. So I appreciate the question. I actually don't tell the guys very often or ever that I'm proud of them. I always talk in terms of being excited for their next venture in life, or being excited for the next time they get to play, right? Mm-hmm. The next time they get the chance to go out there and do something special, that I'm excited for them, because I really believe that they own their performance. You know, the coaches are there to help them to be the best they can be. But probably that this program stood up once again, and the players believed in it, the seniors, and that they all stuck together and gave us a chance to coach them. That's probably the thing I was most excited about last year. It wasn't hoisting the trophy, or it wasn't beating South Dakota State twice. It was just that they decided to stay together and stay connected and to believe in one another and then finish the job. You know, I thought that was probably the coolest part of the whole year.
So obviously last year being your first year, you know, I feel like if I were in your position, I would have a whole bunch of pressure. And like, how do you deal with all that pressure? How do you get all that off your mind and stay focused for all your players on the team?
Yeah, well, all the things that we've learned from 2011 going into 2012, and then 2012, right? 13, 14, 15, 5 in a row, right?
Yep.
It doesn't get much bigger than that. And I was fortunate to be part of 4 of those 5 championships. And the thing I probably took the most from former coaches here was Craig Bohl. Like, it takes what it takes. The process is the process, right? And then Chris Kleiman kind of advanced that, okay, there is some pressure with this job. So how do we get the kids to focus on a singular thing that will always provide an opportunity for us? And that one thing being, you know, going 1-0, you know, believing and trusting in the process, you know, making the standard bigger than winning and losing. And so I think that's how I handle it, is try to keep the guys really focused on being competitive, being very improvement driven, and being tough as heck every day. And if we do those things, North Dakota State will always have a chance to win.
So with this new group of guys for the 2025 team, I know the season's already started, but what are you most excited or looking forward to this season?
Yeah, and it's the best or the most important core value we have is improvement. the funnest thing about this team, regardless that we're in week 3 already, but it's like from week 3 to week 5, what kind of improvement can we make? From week 5 to week 7, what kind of improvement can we make? I really believe that this team can improve for 12 straight weeks. That's how impressionable we are. But the only way that that's going to happen is if our seniors and our leadership sets an example, continues to play well, has an attitude that says, watch me. Hey, young guys, watch me go do the job. This is going to be you. And then our young people believe in that, believe in them, and continue to attack the process because there's a lot of talent and ability, but we got to execute in big moments. And we're on track with that right now. But just the younger people that are getting their first chance, to continue to build on what they're doing now.
So for all the younger people that are watching, like the younger football players that are going to watch this video, what are like some key things that you look for in recruits, or what do you look for in players, or what interests you in most when you see someone and you see a player, you say, I want that guy? What makes you say, I want that guy?
Well, it's a combination of everybody talks about first impressions, right? Whether you're in a job interview or walking into a business. Heck, this setup right here is first class. I really enjoy this. And I kind of look at recruiting the same way. Okay, do they have the size for the position that we're looking at them to play? But are they smiling? Do they have big body language? Are they a person that could add something to your culture instead of just fitting into the culture? We're looking for big personalities and people that are team-oriented guys. And I've always felt like you can learn a lot about a person after about an hour or 2 hours of being around them. So I would most certainly say the size that we're looking for the position, height, weight, ability to add weight onto their bodies. But right along with that is just, their body language, how in tune are they with the environment? How much can they add to the environment? What are they kind of presenting? What are they putting off to the outside world? What's important to them? And then I guess I would add a third piece. If we're talking about recruiting and the parents are involved and we're all doing this together, like at a football game or, at a recruiting event, I think it's really critical that they're really successful in all phases of their life. Academics are important to them. If they're involved in student council or if they're involved in different groups on their high school campus, do they want to do a good job? Is there a certain amount of pride that they take in every area of their lives?
So football and your personal life, there's obviously a lot of highs and there's a lot of lows. What really keeps you grounded with those highs and those lows?
Well, I think it's just that, staying grounded. We talk a lot about, staying humble and hungry, be allergic to the big meal. We won 2 games, but we haven't attained our full potential yet. We haven't played a perfect game. We're always chasing excellence, right? And so I think, humility is important to us. Consistent improvement's important to us. It leads to credibility and trust. And I guess those are the things that allow me to continue to be motivated, continue to want to motivate, to inspire our young people to be the best they can be. We have to remain humble and hungry.
So what do you do? Do you have a pregame ritual before every game that you like to do? Or is it just you just kind of go out there and you just get ready for the day?
You know what? I thought I did. Like as an assistant coach for over 19, 20 years, I had that pretty well established, right? As a head coach, I'd say that I stayed true to 2 superstitions. Number 1, I have a black book that's in my back pocket, so I make sure I check my final notes. I write what I'm going to say right before the guys go on the field. I'm really organized as far as my little black book. And then the second thing is I shower at the 90-minute mark every game. So 90 minutes before game time, I take another shower. And I've done that ever since I've been a player. So those are the 2 superstitions I have. I think what's really important with, eliminating distractions and staying consistent is that you don't disrupt anybody else with your pregame routine. And that's why it's so important that our players, right, just have their music on. They're not talking to somebody on the phone. They're not, Snapchatting before the game. They're not on Instagram before the game.
They're just locked in for the game.
Yeah, and they can have their tunes going and all that, but, it's really important that we all individually respect our routines and get ready for the ball game, because you only guarantee 12 in football a year, and so it's really important that we play well and coach well and do our jobs.
So obviously football is a big part of your life, but I mean, obviously you have a life outside of football as well
Yeah.
with your personal life. So on your off days, what do you like to do on your off day?
My first thought is, okay, does my wife want to do something? My wife, Jill. And then if she's not like real motivated or doesn't really want to do something that day, it automatically in the summertime goes to golf. That's probably the one other thing I'm really, really passionate about. I really enjoy. It's the only thing that I really have now in my life that's competitive outside of football. The third thing would be, grilling or smoking something on my Yoder. I really enjoy that because I'm at home, I'm with Jill. I love cooking and providing something for other people. That's one of my favorite things to do with the team outside of football is cook a meal for them. We have the leadership council over to our house, and my wife always does such a great job of providing like the sides or the secondary dish, and then I usually do something on the grill or the smoker. And that's probably one of the things that I really enjoy about coaching college football is the opportunity to build relationships with these players and try to build trust and make sure that they know that we're there for them.
So you've been in Fargo for a long time now. Do you have any favorite restaurants or food places?
Yeah, this is my third time back to Fargo. So I was here from 06 through 12. I left for 340 days, came back for 14, 15, 16 season. We beat Iowa, and then I was able to get hired at Iowa as an O-line coach. Then I was in Laramie, Wyoming, and that was an awesome experience with the mountains and stuff and the hikes. But I all of a sudden realized how important to me the restaurant life, the restaurants and bars, a place for a burger and a beer meant to me. And so to be back in Fargo, our restaurants are awesome. I really appreciate that part of it. I would go with this. I don't like singling out. Jill and I are both into Mexican food, and there's several really good options here. Plaza's obviously because it's close to our house and they do a good job. That's really good. Paradiso is still one of our favorites because that's been here a long time. If it comes down to getting a burger, I always go with JL's. That's probably my favorite. But I'll tell you, Unhinged, their burgers are really good. Anything to do with the lights is cool. Jill and I put 15 popsicle sticks in a jar, and we draw every Wednesday of the season for our date nights on Thursdays. And that's kind of really cool. There's a big anticipation. As soon as practice is over on Wednesday, it's the first thing I think about. Okay, we got to draw tonight. Where do we get to go out to eat on Thursday? And so that's really cool. And date night, it follows my radio show, so it's all kind of a cool thing. We go to the Holiday Inn, there could be anywhere from 50 to 85 people there that are enjoying a burger and fries for $8. But then as soon as that's over, or I'm off the air, I hustle and get to date night with my wife, and that's pretty cool. Bulldog Tap is good. They got great food. I really like Murphy's in Moorhead. They have great pizza and awesome people there. We really enjoy that. There's several in town. Maxwell's is first class. Beer and Fish is one of my favorites downtown. Gosh, I hope I don't leave anybody out. The people are great in Fargo.
So is there any favorite football movies you have of all time? Or, just a few favorite football movies that you like?
I don't know if the guys told you or not, but I'm a football, or a movie nut. We have I have. Jill hates my movie collection. But I probably have somewhere between 700 and 800 DVDs.
Wow.
And they're all in alphabetical order. And so I don't like answering movie questions unless someone gives me a category. Mm-hmm. So you're saying football. Gosh, there's so many that I really enjoy it. Friday Night Lights is pretty good. That's up there. I've always liked Any Given Sunday because of the pregame speech. The inches you need are all around you, and it's Al Pacino does such a good job. Remember the Titans is up there for all the players. I really enjoyed that movie, especially with some of the demographic things and the racial things that are in them. It's so cool to bring a team together of guys that are from all over, different personalities. That's the one thing I really appreciate about our guys here is the respect level they have for each other, no matter where they come from, what their beliefs are, what kind of beliefs their family has. It's pretty special to be a Bison, and the guys know it all starts with the team camaraderie and the chemistry that's in the locker room. So I always like to remember the Titans for that reason. The Express is good. I like that one. And I know I'm forgetting a couple. We Are Marshall is another really good one. You know, that's a tragedy that happened to a football team. Actually, airplane crashed. And then they got to hire a new coach, and they got to build this team with primarily the non-travel guys. That's a really good movie as well.
So what's the best locker room moment you've ever had?
Oh, jeez. You know, okay, that strikes a chord. My mind did go to being a head coach. Gray Zabel and Cam Miller last year giving me the game ball for the first win. I was cool, and it wasn't about me. It was cool because at that moment I felt like we were a connected team, right? They had kind of said at that moment, all right, coach, we're connected and we believe in you. You know, that was the feelings I had. But I wouldn't want to single out. I guess I would also say, like, the first national title in that moment for Coach Bowl. You know, and seeing him and the smile on his face. The same thing for Chris Kleiman. I wasn't here for Coach Entz's championships. Those are pretty big.
So one thing that the players and multiple players have told me that something that was so special about the team last year, and you just mentioned this too, is that everyone felt so connected and the team just felt so connected. So how do you transition from having a few guys like Cam Miller and Gray Zabel, you know, obviously leaving the team and coming out here with a new QB and a new group of guys? How do you keep that connection going with everybody?
Well, it starts on January 9th every year. I mean, or the 12th, somewhere in there when we start training. When we start training in the wintertime, you know, strength and conditioning, are they going to push each other? Are they going to compete? Are they going to support each other? That's where it all starts, right? Okay, and then you get into spring ball and you're starting to develop chemistry with plays and concepts, offensively and defensively. That all matters. I really believe in what we're doing with our leadership council and some of our, you know, we read one book a year. You know, they have meetings on them and we discuss chapters, not only from football and leadership standpoint, but also, you know, what are some world issues? What are some things going on in our society? So all those things, like all of a sudden you start getting to know each other a little better. You're leaning into conversations rather than pulling back. And the more that starts to happen, now we get them in fall camp. And I think that's one of the areas where, you know, the schedule and the competitive spirit of fall camp typically, you know, brings guys together. But I think honestly, I would say this, Landon. The kids have to make their mind up that they matter to each other. There's going to be a certain respect level. They believe in each other. They're more helpful to each other and supportive than they are demeaning. Those things add up. And each and every class has to be connected, but all of a sudden you need to tie in the seniors and the sophomores, the juniors and the freshmen, and there's got to be unbelievable connection on the team.
So say you weren't a head coach, what do you think you would be doing with a career right now, or what career choice do you think you would choose to do?
If I wasn't in football?
If you weren't in football, yep.
Wow. Well, my degree's in teaching. I have a master's in teaching. My energy level, my intensity, I don't know, or my approach, I don't know if I'd be a very good high school or elementary school teacher. Quite frankly, I could see myself, I would be doing something in a leadership role. I couldn't put my finger on that. I couldn't see myself really doing anything outside of coaching football and being part of football. Maybe consulting, like in the recruiting world, consulting in leadership. I don't like the idea of saying motivational speaker, but I'd really like to consult someday after maybe I'm done coaching and help people to develop their leadership ability, their leadership skills, their ability to inspire. That's probably what I would say is something in that realm.
And what kind of ties into that is I had a few players kind of tell me this probably about a week ago or 2 weeks ago that all the college athletes at NDSU kind of got into a big like area together, all met up, and you were there and you were speaking. I don't know exactly what you said, but a few of the players were just saying that you were amped up and you were getting everyone excited, and kind of like, you know, you had said, I forgot exactly what you said, but somebody told me that you'd said something, and then everyone was like, man, this guy's got some intensity. Like, you could just see it in all their faces, and they're like,
well, I wanted to challenge. I think there's something really going on right now in society that I'm not sure is always a positive. Okay, we're you know, young people are the most educated group of people, the most talented group of people ever. The future is bright, right? But I think we've lost a sense of community. I think we've lost a sense of, you know, who are our teammates? You know, who are our best friends? And so I really challenged all the student athletes on campus. So why not support each other at a high rate this year? Why not support each other better than it's ever been done before? You know, go to each other's sporting events. You know, get to know each other. You know, let's have a society within, you know, all of North Dakota State University, you know, as far as the student body, but like the athletes should be different, and our connection to each other should be different. And I really believe that it's cool to be a Bison. The green and yellow is unbelievable, right? Like, embrace that. It's not about anything to do with individual success as much as it's about your teammates and really caring and pouring into the community and supporting one another. That was kind of my message. And so I kind of challenged the group, let's do that better than it's ever been done before. And I think that's really important in today's society with travel sports. And, you know, America's youth has great opportunity to achieve individual success, but I'm not sure we're always sending the right message that, hey, it's really cool to be part of a team too. It's really cool to be part of a business or a company someday that values the members of the team. And it's a little bit bigger than just yourself. And we've embraced that. We want to run with that.
So I did also see that you have your own talk show on every Sunday. Is it Sunday nights?
Yeah, the TV show.
Yeah. So how do you kind of prepare yourself for that, and what do you kind of do while you're on there? What do you kind of speak about? Is it mainly just Bison, or is it other things that are included as well?
No. So the TV show I enjoy a lot because there's no real preparation because it's live, and I don't know what highlights they're gonna pick. I only know. Prior to the show, I only know the player of the game, and I only know the future Bison that they're going to talk about. So I kind of articulate some thoughts or give that some thought going into it. But that's all live, and we've only had to take one segment, a reshot, in the 2 years that we've done it. So we've done a nice job with that.
Okay.
The press conference I prepare for.
Okay.
You know, I think a lot about the message I want to get to our fans. I think a lot about the message that I want to deliver to our players. Those are really the only two groups of people that I'm talking to in my press conference. I give a lot of thought to my opening statements and some things that I do want to acknowledge or recognize. But as far as the TV show goes, the only preparation is, okay, what suit did I wear last week? I don't want to wear the same suit back-to-back weeks. And then we just go have fun with it. But we only talk about the Bison or our upcoming opponent.
So another interesting question I had for you is, if you had like a celebrity that you could have, or a previous coach that was your favorite that you could have a dinner with and talk to for one night, who would you like to meet or talk to for a night?
I probably still feel the same way. It's just the older you get, you know, when I would have answered that question 20 years ago, Brett Favre would have been the clear-cut answer. I would have loved to, you know, have a beer with him, shoot a game of darts, just hang out and compete with a guy like that. I thought he was my childhood, not hero, but he was the guy I looked up to. You know, we were so excited as Packer fans to watch him. I would also include today. I would include, you know, whoever wins basically a Super Bowl or a national championship. I would love to spend an hour or two with that coach and try to learn something, you know, from him or his perspective on things. I'm not real big on, like, who's your hero, or we asked all the players this year, you know, who do they honor, why do they play football, and who do they honor while they play? And I honor everybody back in my hometown. I want to make that community, which is a really small town, I want to make them proud. That's really, really important to me. I have had lunch with Aaron Rodgers before, so he would probably be my second pick because I'm such a big Packer fan. Brett Favre is my answer. That's the person I would want to have a meal with.
So obviously you got a lot of football going on. Do you still make time to watch other games or even the NFL wise, or is it kind of hard to do that with the schedule you have?
Yeah, no, on Sundays. Sundays, our schedule. So it's a 9-hour workday, 9 to 10 hour workday, depending on when you get in. The offense and the defense are slightly different, not for any particular reason, except for, depending on how families want to handle dinner. Do they want to have dinner together? Do they want to go to church together? So Sundays are difficult. As a head coach, I'm there about 9:30, 9 o'clock in the morning. The TV show's at 6:30 p.m. So there's a game that'll be on our big screen out in the lounge. There might be a game in the background, but we are totally focused on wrapping up the last game and then starting the game plan for the next week. So we see football, but I would never call it that we sit there and watch it like you do as a fan. College football, Friday nights in the hotel, there's nothing better than a college football game being on. Maybe hanging out with another coach or two, or just kind of getting your mind right and being able to watch a whole game. I do watch most Thursday night games because that's, kind of date night. And once we get home, I watch a game. But Monday nights, we work until about 8 o'clock. So it's hard to see the whole Monday night game. No, you kind of just do it around your schedule, and it takes what it takes. Our schedule doesn't change. We've been going at it July 30th, and we hope to work every day up till January 7th this year, and that's the national title.
So do you have any
About
advice?
90 hours a week, if you're
Wow.
curious.
So do you have any advice for any younger coaches or players just in general?
Yeah, young coaches, that's one of the things I'm most passionate about, is trying to help people to stick with this business. I like sharing this, and a lot's been written about me being a logger prior to coming to NDSU in 2006, so I had a bunch of part-time jobs just to kind of, survive. I think young coaches have to realize this is not a 1 or 2 year deal and then you get hired full-time at, University of Wisconsin or Iowa or USC. Like, I worked my first 4 years in college football, I made a grand total of $24,000. And so some of that was like, having a really bad apartment, sleeping on an air mattress, no cable TV. That's where my DVD collection started. I had 20 of them, and I rotated through those 20 DVDs, and it was all about football. And I think it's really cool. Young people have to recognize when you're young, you need to immerse yourself in whatever it is that you want to do and take advantage of being really hungry and not having a lot for a lot of other things, because the time is short. Before you know it, you're going to have a wife or you're going to have a family, and then you have to provide. There's got to be built-in time for those things. So being a young coach is all about, kind of having a plan and trying to execute it, getting to know as many people as you can, learning. But you have to really dive in and understand this is not going to be about money, and it most certainly is not going to be about, free time and doing other stuff besides football.
So my last question for you is, what are you looking forward most for the future of the Bison? And do you also like to look towards the future, or do you like to stay more in the present and kind of what you got in front of you now?
No, we're all much more. I guess that's the cool thing about being a head coach, right? Like, I hope if you had every assistant coach sit in this chair and you asked him that question, he would say, hey, I'm strictly focused on tomorrow. I'm focused on today, the moment, right now. But when you're a head coach, you get this 50,000 foot view. We're recruiting 2027 kids right now. It means they're a junior in high school. And so it's as much about planning for the future and the needs of the team for next year, the needs of the team for down the road. We're trying to run a football program here, and so we're not year to year. But I think the closer you are to playing, the closer you are to preparing a player to play, you better be thinking about the present more than you are thinking about the future.
Well, I think that's all the questions I had for you. So I really appreciate you, coming by here today. I was so excited for you to come in here and officially get to meet you in person and kind of talk to you in person. And I'm very excited to come to a few games this year and keep cutting the guys up. It's it's honestly like really cool being able to come to the facility and cut up some of the guys, and most of the guys coming here and supporting me. So it truly does mean a lot for me. I'm so excited that you came in here, and this is just like a really big moment for me personally, because I feel like even I've only been doing this for 3 years, and I feel like I've really grown so much more, and to get the opportunity to be able to cut up the football players. I know, you know, I really enjoy cutting these guys, and it's helped me out, not even just as just growing relationships with these guys, but like other people having the content of these players coming in here and supporting me, reposting my stuff and helping me out has helped my business out so much. So I just want to say I appreciate you guys giving me the opportunity for cutting you guys up and trusting me and supporting me as well. So
no doubt the guys are behind you, and it's good to have you be part of the team. That means a lot. You're doing a good job.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And then that should be good. We can end the video right there. I'm going to do his beard now, so that way we, because it's going to be hard to talk while doing your beard. So.
Thank you very much, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah.